Here we're going to look at a progression of ways that we can assist a climber if they are stuck. There are many reasons why we might help out a climber that's stuck. They could have just fallen and can't quite get back on the rock if it's an overhang, or maybe they just can't quite reach the holds that they need they're trying to grab so they can continue on the climb. Maybe they actually got hurt, they fell and they need to get hauled up the climb to help them out. So here in this setup, I'm not tied in right now just to keep things clean, and I just have a single bolt anchor here just to keep things really clean and simple. Here is our climber, a big heavy rock, and it's a legitimately big heavy rock. And so here we're going to teach you a progression of ways to assist a climber that's stuck, and I really encourage you that you think about it as a progression. Don't just jump to the most complex technical solution. And we'll have you do a vector pull, a 3-to-1, a 3-to-1 with a climber assist, a 5-to-1, and a 6-to-1. These are the same mechanical advantage climber assist systems that you would need to show in a single pitch instructor exam or a rock guide exam as part of the rock rescue drill. So first, anytime we do these, we'll throw a catastrophe knot in first. In the first progression, the first assist that we can do in the progression of helping out a climber is just the vector pull. And this is where we just pull on the rope. And understanding physics, we know that when the rope is tight like this, it's essentially 180 degrees. And when I pull, I can actually get a lot of force in there. And this is a way that I might give a climber a little bit of help, like maybe they just can't quite reach the holds that they're trying to get to. They need just a little bit of aid. When I pull, you can see here, I'm not even going to be able to pull slack in, right? And the more that I lessen that angle in the rope, the less power I get, the less force I can get. But this is a pretty classic way of just trying to help out a climber by just giving them that vector pull. Next, I'm going to set up a 3-to-1. So here, got my catastrophe knot in. And first, I'm going to try to get them to help if they can. So here, I'm going to send this carabiner down to the climber. So presumably, they're down there. I could clip it to the strand of rope and send it down to them, or just send it down in a bite. And I'm going to tell the climber, like, hey, clip that into your belay loop and lock the carabiner. Then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to undo that knot, that catastrophe knot. This is a locker down here in the belay loop because this is a redirected brake strand. We need to make sure we're protecting the climber. Now that it's a locker, I can have them squeeze check it. I can take off that catastrophe knot. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to pull while also having them pull on this strand that's here in the middle. And often with people, what you need to do is really help show them, because there's 2 strands down there. And so you got to show them, like, hey, I want you to pull on this strand, and you can show it to them, or tell them, hey, pull on this one. And what they're doing is they're pulling on their brake strand. And with them helping you, this is a really effective way to get a climber through a section. It's also a lot easier on you. It doesn't involve putting a friction hitch on. So that climber would be down there pulling on that strand while you're simultaneously, usually like bending your knees, keeping your back straight, and like giving a good pull. So this is a 3-to-1 with the climber assist. This is great if you can get that loop of rope to them and the climber is relatively able. If they're not able, if you can't get a loop of rope to them, then you're going to need to set up just a traditional 3-to-1. So here I'm going to put my catastrophe knot back in. And now I'm going to put on a friction hitch. And here I'm going to go with a clem heist. We need to do something really secure. An auto block probably is not going to be enough. So a prusik or clem heist is what you'll need to do.
And a friction hitch isn't the only thing you could use.
That's what we're going to use here, though. In big wall climbing, Sayla's thinking that we use mechanical ascenders, which is true.
Well, I'm not saying it's the only way, but there's others.
Yeah, there are a few different friction hitches that will work. So there now, I can take my catastrophe knot out after I have my redirected brake strand clipped in there with the locking carabiner. Now I have my 3-to-1, and now again, I can pull up and it's a lot easier. And just take note, like when I first had this like big heavy rock on my anchor, it was heavy. I could not really pull it up just by pulling on the rope. Now I can definitely like more easily pull it up. With a climber, we really encourage you to, like, if you're on a ledge, like pull up like that. Sometimes people want to redirect, and that can be fine. I can redirect off the anchor here. And then I can do a variety of things. Put a friction hitch on here. If I had another blade device, I could do that. I can just put a locker on. I don't gain any mechanical advantage here, but I do gain this advantage of being able to use my weight and my feet. I can push against the wall with my feet. This is what I particularly recommend to people that are really lightweight, that are having a hard time assisting a climber, hauling them up, is to do a redirected system. Even though it's not as efficient because of some of the friction that you get here, you can really use your body to your advantage. So that's the redirected 3-to-1 that you're welcome to do. Again, it's still just a 3-to-1. Now, let's look at ways to add some mechanical advantage. I'm going to lower our climber back down so we have a little bit more room to work. Now, if I'm not getting done what I want to get done, I can build off of that 6-to-1. I'm going to put my catastrophe knot back in. And one thing I can do is add, this is a 3-to-1Z. I can add a 2-to-1 C on top of that. And I can do that a number of ways. I could put another friction hitch on here. We'll do that. Could use a cordelette perhaps as well. If I had a cordelette here, didn't have another friction hitch, or maybe a double length sling. Alright, got this nice blue sling, so hopefully it shows the difference there. Tied a nice clem heist with that friction hitch. And now I have my 2-to-1C on top of my 3-to-1Z. I need to pull my catastrophe knot out now. Okay, and now I have, what is this, Selah?
A something to one?
A 6-to-1.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
Alright, great. Alright, so 6-to-1 right there. Alright, one more that we can show here.
5-to-1.
So take this apart, it's the 5-to-1. 5-to-1 is something that we can build when maybe we don't have another friction hitch that's handy. And so so here, I'm just going to use a sling because I have it handy. Tie a knot in here down low. Put my cat knot in, but I'll put that in now. Get the carabiner here. And here, I could be using a sling like I am now, or I could be using like the backside of my clove hitch, which is a really popular way. So now I've taken this friction hitch I already had on there for that 3-to-1, and I've just added some mechanical advantage just with the sling without having to tie in a friction hitch, and this is a 5-to-1. Okay, you have to reset this here some, but there you go. That's a 5-to-1. And that's the expectation, that you could do that progression of climber assists. Of course, always starting out with coaching them, trying to help them out, using a vector pull, having them help you as well with that 3-to-1 drop loop assist. And then you get the 3-to-1, and you can add on to it 6-to-1 or 5-to-1. So there you go.